My fiancée played the victim to keep me in check, but when I caught her sneaking off to Bali with her ex, I canceled our wedding, and that was just the beginning. The text hit my phone like a rogue wave. Ethan, I need space. Wedding's stressing me out. Don't contact me. I'll reach out when I'm ready. I stood in my kitchen, mid-chop, the knife hovering over a slab of fresh-caught mahi-mahi, the salty tang of fish mixing with the ocean breeze slipping through the open window. My condo, perched on a bluff overlooking Monterey Bay, was my sanctuary. Until now. Claire's words weren't just a request. They were a gut punch, a betrayal wrapped in a casual text. I stared at the screen, the glow reflecting off my weathered hands, calloused from years of shaping surfboards. Space? 6 months before our wedding? My pulse hammered like the waves crashing against the cliffs below. Something was off, way off. I'm Ethan Caldwell, 29, owner of Coastal Carve, a custom surfboard shop in Santa Cruz, California. This town, with its rugged coastline, redwood groves, and the ever-present hum of the Pacific, is my blood. I grew up chasing dawn patrols, watching the sunrise paint the boardwalk in hues of pink and gold, the air thick with salt and seaweed. My shop sits in a weathered cedar building on West Cliff Drive, its faded blue paint peeling under the relentless coastal sun. Inside, the walls are lined with boards. Longboards, shortboards, fish, guns, each one handcrafted, each one a piece of my soul. The place smells of resin, fiberglass, and dreams. Outside, gulls wheel over the slate-gray ocean, and the cliffs drop sharply to the tide pools below. It's not just a shop, it's my life, built from nothing but grit and salt. I started Coastal Carve at 20, renting a cramped shed from Old Man Jenkins, a retired shaper who saw something in me. Back then, it was just me, a planer, and a dream, working 60-hour weeks in a space that smelled like damp wood and desperation. I lived in a 400-square-foot loft above a dive bar, the kind of place where the floor creaked and the walls were thin enough to hear your neighbors' midnight arguments. Every dollar I earned from fixing dings at other surf shops went into savings. I took online business courses at night, my laptop balanced on a milk crate, learning how to turn passion into profit. Now, at 29, I've got 5 employees, guys who live and breathe the ocean like I do, and a reputation for boards that cut through waves like a hot knife through butter. Coastal Carve isn't just a business, it's a legacy, earned through sweat and sacrifice. My dad, Tom, drilled financial discipline into me early. His brother, Uncle Mike, got obliterated in a 90s divorce, lost his fishery business, his savings, even his truck. "Build your own safety net, Ethan," Dad would say, his voice gruff from years of yelling over boat engines. "Nobody's gonna hand you one." That lesson stuck. When I bought my first proper shaping tools, a $2,000 set of planes and sanders, Dad showed up at my loft with a grin and a pile of driftwood. We built a rack for them, the wood worn smooth by the sea, its curves echoing the lines of the boards I'd later shape. "Good investment," he said, clapping my shoulder. "Tools make money, toys don't." Practical, like always. I'm not flashy. My one indulgence, besides Finn, my 3-year-old Australian Shepherd, is a vintage Jeep Wrangler, ocean blue, with a soft top that flaps in the coastal wind. I drive it along Highway 1, windows down, the roar of the engine blending with the surf. Finn rides shotgun, his tongue lolling, his chewed-up frisbee always within reach. He's a shop favorite, greeting customers with a wag and a nudge, his blue eyes bright as the Pacific on a clear day. My condo, bought 2 years ago when the market dipped, is small but mine, with a deck that juts over the bluff, offering a front row seat to Monterey Bay's endless drama. Waves crashing, fog rolling, seagulls screaming. I invest most of my cash back into the shop, keeping my life lean. Dad's voice echoes. Tools, not toys. Claire came into my life like a summer swell. Sudden, powerful, impossible to ignore. I met her at a beach bonfire 2 years ago, the kind of night where the air's warm and the stars compete with the flames. She was 27, a graphic designer with blonde hair that caught the firelight, her laugh cutting through the crackle of burning driftwood. She worked a crowd like a pro, all charm and quick wit, her green eyes locking onto you like you were the only one there. Our first date was at a cliffside cafe, the kind with mismatched chairs and coffee that tastes like ambition. She asked about board design, the curve of a rail, the feel of a wave. I was hooked, thinking I'd found someone who got my world. We moved fast, too fast maybe. After a year, she moved into my condo, her art supplies cluttering my minimalist space. Framed sketches of waves and logos lined the walls, her touch blending with mine. We planned a summer wedding at a venue perched on a cliff, the ocean as our witness. It felt right, until it didn't. Looking back, there were cracks in the board. Claire had a way of tilting her head when she smiled, but her words could cut. She called my surfer buddies basic, rolling her eyes at their board shorts and flip-flops. My best friend, Nate, a laid-back shaper who lives in a beach shack cluttered with surf posters and a beer fridge, got the worst of it. His place is a frat house nightmare, she'd say, smirking. Nate saw through her early. She's got princess vibes, Ethan, he warned one night over beers at the Crow's Nest. Watch how she talks to the bartender versus your landlord. Two different people. I brushed it off. Love's blind like that. When a woman like Claire, gorgeous, polished, magazine cover material, picks you, you ignore the red flags. Rookie. Mistake. That night in the kitchen, her text stopped me cold. I set the knife down, the mahi-mahi forgotten, and stared out the window. The bay was restless, waves churning under a bruised sky, the horizon smudged with fog. My condo, usually a haven, felt hollow. Claire's yoga mat was rolled up in the corner, her jasmine-scented candle unlit on the counter. We'd been solid, or so I thought. She had her career, designing logos for tech startups. I had mine, shaping boards that carried people into the heart of the ocean. We'd mapped out a future, kids, a bigger place, maybe a second shop. Now this, space. The word felt like a blade, slicing through the life I'd built. I texted back, "Take your time," my fingers shaking, trying to play it cool. But inside, I was drowning. The next few days were a blur. I went through the motions at Coastal Carve, sanding boards until my hands ached, the hum of the planer drowning out my thoughts. The shop's open layout, big windows, racks of gleaming boards, the faint scent of epoxy, usually grounded me. Not now. The ocean outside churned, gray and unforgiving, mirroring the storm in my head. I couldn't focus. A customer asked about a thruster setup, and I gave him a blank stare, my mind stuck on Claire's text. Nate swung by on Thursday, catching me staring at a half-shaped blank like it held the answers. "Dude," he said, leaning against the workbench, "you're sanding air." That board's done. He was right. I dropped the sander, my shoulders slumping. "Let's close up," I said, the first time I'd shut the shop early in years. We grabbed beers and sat on the shop's back deck, the Pacific stretching out like a challenge. "This ain't normal, man," Nate said, cracking open a cold one. "Nobody needs space 6 months before a wedding unless they're up to something shady." I defended her, weakly. "Maybe it's just stress. Her mom's been hounding her about the guest list." Even as I said it, it sounded like bullshit. Nate just raised an eyebrow, his silence louder than words. Friday night, my phone buzzed with a text from Jess, Claire's coworker and a friend I'd always clicked with. "Ethan, you need to see this." "I'm sorry." Attached was a screenshot from Claire's Instagram close friend story. My heart stopped. There she was, glowing under tropical sunlight, a piña colada in hand, her arm draped around Ryan, her ex. The caption, "Chasing sunsets, finding clarity." Bali. Fucking Bali. While I was home chopping fish and planning our wedding, she was halfway across the world with him, living her best life. Jess sent more screenshots, Claire and Ryan laughing on a beach, their bodies pressed close, her engagement ring glinting in the sun. I called Jess, my voice tight. "What the hell is this?" She sighed. She told everyone at work it was a family emergency. I didn't buy it. Then I saw this. My hurt hardened into something else. Clarity, cold, and sharp. Claire didn't just want space. She wanted me out of the picture while she test drove her old flame, keeping me on the hook as her backup plan. In my condo, using my resources, while telling me to back off. I went into overdrive. Saturday morning, I sat on my deck, fin at my feet, the ocean roaring below. The air was thick with salt, the cliffs dotted with cypress trees bending in the wind. I made calls. First, the wedding venue. Canceled, $4,000 deposit gone. Then the caterer, another $2,000. Band, photographer, florist, one by one, I dismantled the wedding Claire had spent months obsessing over. Next, a locksmith. By noon, my condo's deadbolt and knob were new, $200 well spent. I pulled out every receipt, every bank statement, documenting what I'd paid for versus her contributions. The math was brutal. I'd covered 80% of our shared life. Her yoga classes, her organic smoothies, her designer sunglasses, mostly on my dime. The ring, a $12,000 sapphire I'd saved for months to buy, sat on her nightstand. She'd left it behind, probably to avoid tan lines in her beach pics with Ryan. I locked it in my safe, along with the purchase receipt. In California, engagement rings are conditional gifts. She wasn't getting it back. Then there was the car. 6 months ago, Claire's old Civic crapped out. Engine seized, not worth fixing. She needed a ride for client meetings, but her credit was shot from splurging on $500 handbags and boutique skincare. I bought a used Toyota RAV4 for $17,000, title and loan in my name. She was supposed to make payments, but they were late half the time, and I covered the gaps. My dad's voice echoed. "Don't be like Uncle Mike." His ex drove a car he paid for during their separation, crashed it, and left him with the loan. Not me. I called a dealership, drove the RAV4 over, and explained I was the sole owner. They offered $15,500, pending inspection. I signed the papers, left the car, and walked away. Claire's parking spot at the condo complex sat empty, a silent victory. I called Dad that night, needing his anchor. Claire asked for space, then went to Bali with her ex, I said, my voice steady but raw. I'm selling her car, changing the locks, canceling the wedding. Silence on his end, then. "Son, Mike lost everything over less. You're doing what's got to be done. Need help moving her stuff?" That was Dad, practical, no nonsense. I spent the weekend boxing Claire's things. 40 pairs of sandals, silk scarves, art supplies, all carefully packed. I wasn't a monster, but I wasn't her doormat either. Found a credit card statement, $10,000 in debt she'd never mentioned. Then a journal hidden under her side of the bed. Pages of pros and cons. Me, stable, good provider, versus Ryan, exciting, passionate, dated 3 months ago. My stomach twisted. She'd been planning this. Monday, I met with my lawyer, a no-bullshit guy who surfed on weekends. Showed him the screenshots, the journal, the receipts. California's not a common law state, he said. Your condo, your car, your assets, safe. Keep documenting. Communicate in writing only. I nodded, calm but burning. The shop became my refuge. I threw myself into a new project. A 6-foot 2-inch fish for a pro surfer. The kind of board that dances on waves. The work steadied me. The rhythm of sanding and glassing like meditation. Outside, the ocean churned. A storm brewing on the horizon. Clouds stacking like a warning. Claire's Bali trip lasted 10 days. I knew the meltdown was coming. Tuesday night, I was on my deck with Nate. Finn sprawled at our feet, a beer in my hand. The air was cool, the bay a dark expanse under a crescent moon. Then, keys jangled outside, scraping at the lock, pounding. "Ethan, open the damn door!" Claire's voice, sharp and entitled. Nate grinned. Showtime. I opened the door halfway. She stood there, tanned, furious, a suitcase at her side. "Why doesn't my key work?" she demanded. "Because I changed the locks," I said, voice flat. Her eyes widened. "You what?" "Why?" I held up my phone, the screenshot of her and Ryan glowing. "You asked for space. I made it permanent. Weddings canceled too." Her face crumpled, but not with guilt, panic. "That's not what it looks like. Jess sent you that? It was just a trip." Nate snorted from the couch. I stared her down. "You flew to Bali to think with your ex?" "Bullshit." Her eyes darted to the empty parking spot. "Where's my car?" The audacity. "Not your car, mine. Sold it." She stomped her foot like a kid denied a toy. "You can't do that. I made payments." Nate laughed. "Call the cops, princess. Tell them your ex-fiancé sold his car after you cheated. Good luck." Then her sister, Mia, appeared, a 25-year-old carbon copy of Claire. Same blonde hair, same entitled glare. "What's going on?" she snapped. Claire, tears streaming, wailed, "He sold my car, changed the locks, canceled our wedding." Mia turned on me. "After all Claire did for you, you throw her out?" Nate cut in. "What, like banging her ex in Bali? Check her Instagram." I held up a hand. "Your stuff's in the lobby tomorrow. Noon, 1 hour, or it's goodwill." Finn barked, sensing the tension. Claire's eyes locked on him. "You're keeping Finn, too?" I almost laughed. "The dog you complained about every day?" "Yeah, he's mine." I shut the door, their voices muffled but furious. Nate clinked his beer against mine. "Bullet dodged, bro." Finn nuzzled my knee, and for the first time in days, I breathed easy. The next morning, Claire's texts started at dawn. "You can't do this. Where am I supposed to live? I need my car." I didn't respond. Nate and I hauled her boxes to the lobby at noon, organized like I was running a damn charity. Claire showed up with Mia and their mom, Diane, a woman who radiated Karen, energy, bleached hair, yoga pants, a scowl that could curdle milk. Diane lit into me. "This is unacceptable, Ethan. Claire made one mistake. She's under so much pressure." I gestured to the boxes. "Everything's here. 1 hour." Diane's face turned red. My daughter lived here rent-free, drove your car, and you discard her like trash? I shrugged. Free ride's over. They left with her stuff, but the drama was just beginning. Claire's family spun a wild narrative. I was the villain, a controlling asshole who'd stolen her car and home. No mention of Bali, naturally. Her social media was Oscar-worthy. Posts about healing from betrayal, a photo of her staring out a window captioned, "Some people pull the trigger after you take a bullet for them." The irony was thicker than coastal fog. Mutual friends started texting. "Dude, selling her car was harsh." Jess, bless her, shut them down, sharing the screenshots. Then Claire got Jess fired, claiming she'd created a hostile work environment. That was a new low. I called Jess, offered references, connected her with surf industry contacts. She didn't deserve Claire's spite. The shop kept me sane. I dove into the fishboard, shaping its curves with precision, the ocean's rhythm outside syncing with my work. Nate and the crew stepped up, no questions asked. Dad stopped by with sandwiches, our Thursday ritual. "How you holding up?" he asked, sitting in my office, the scent of pastrami mixing with resin. "Better," I said. "Work helps." He nodded. Mike ate his feelings after his divorce. "You're doing it right. Keep moving." Simple, but it hit home. Claire and Mia escalated. They showed up at Coastal Carve, loitering in the parking lot, Claire yelling about her stolen life. My crew formed a wall, Nate calling security. Then, one morning, I found my Jeep's hood keyed, a jagged line across the blue paint. Security footage showed Mia, 3 a.m., carving away with a screwdriver. I filed a police report, the damage pegged at $900. Finn sensed my stress, sticking close as I paced the condo, the bay's waves a restless backdrop. I called Dad. "They're losing it," I said. "Keyed my Jeep." He was calm. "They're fighting for the gravy train. Got your cameras set up?" "Yeah, caught her on video." "Good man." I filed for a restraining order, my lawyer stacking evidence, texts, footage, Jess's screenshots. Claire was unraveling, and I was done playing her game. The ocean roared outside, a storm brewing, but I felt steady. This was my life. My shop, my dog, my home. Claire could keep her drama. I was building something real, and no one was going to take that away. What came next? A showdown I didn't see coming, and a twist that would test everything I'd built. The ocean was angry that week, waves slamming against the Santa Cruz cliffs like they had a score to settle. I felt it too, a churning in my gut that matched the Pacific's fury. Claire's betrayal wasn't just a crack in my life. It was a fault line, and the aftershocks were coming. I stood in Coastal Carve, my surfboard shop, sanding a 6'2" fishboard, the foam dust coating my hands like guilt. I'd been at it for hours, lost in a haze, when Nate's voice cut through. "Dude, you're sanding that thing into oblivion. It's done." I blinked, the board's curves too smooth, overworked. He was right. This wasn't me. I set the sander down, the hum fading, and glanced out the shop's windows. The bay was a restless gray, fog curling over the horizon like a warning. "Let's close up," I said, the words heavy. First time in years I'd shut the shop early. Nate didn't argue, just grabbed his jacket. "You need a beer, Ethan, and a plan." We sat on the shop's back deck, the air thick with salt and seaweed, the distant roar of waves filling the silence. Nate cracked open a cold IPA, sliding one to me. "Claire asking for space 6 months before your wedding? That's not stress, man. That's a red flag the size of a damn sail." I wanted to argue, to say it was just wedding jitters, her mom's guest list drama, but the words felt hollow. Maybe, I muttered, staring at the label peeling off my bottle. Nate's eyes narrowed, the kind of look he gave when he knew I was full of it. You're smarter than this, Ethan. Something's up. He was right, but I wasn't ready to face it. Not yet. The ocean churned below, relentless, like it was daring me to keep ignoring the truth. That truth hit hard the next night. My phone buzzed as I stood on my condo's deck. Finn, my Australian shepherd, sprawled at my feet, his frisbee soggy from a beach run. The text was from Jess, Claire's co-worker and a friend I'd always trusted. Ethan, I'm sorry. You need to see this. Attached were screenshots from Claire's Instagram close friends story. My breath caught. There she was, Claire, glowing under tropical sun, a pina colada in hand, her arm around Ryan, her ex. They were on a Bali beach, all smiles and tangled limbs. The caption reading, "Chasing sunsets, finding clarity." My blood turned to ice. I zoomed in, her engagement ring, my $12,000 sapphire, glinting on her finger. I called Jess, my voice tight. "What the hell is this?" she sighed, heavy. She told work it was a family emergency. I saw this and knew it was BS. I stared at the bay, waves crashing against the rocks below, the sound drowned out by my pulse. Claire didn't want space. She wanted me out of the way while she played house with Ryan, using my condo, my money, my life as her safety net. I went cold, methodical. Saturday morning, I sat at my kitchen counter, Finn nudging my knee, the ocean outside a restless mirror of my mood. The condo's open windows let in the scent of kelp and salt, the cliffs beyond dotted with wind-swept cypress. First call, the wedding venue. Cancelled. Lost. $4,000. Next, the caterer. Another $2,000 gone. Band, photographer, florist, one by one, I erased the wedding Claire had spent months curating like a Pinterest board. Each call was a cut, severing her hold on my future. Then the locksmith. By noon, my condo's locks were new, $200 for peace of mind. I pulled every receipt, every bank statement, tallying what I'd paid for our life together. The numbers didn't lie. 80% was mine. Her yoga retreats, her artisanal coffee obsession, her $300 sunglasses. All on me, the ring was next. She'd left it on her nightstand, probably to avoid tan lines in her Bali pics. A $12,000 sapphire chosen because it matched the ocean we both loved, or so I thought. I locked it in my safe, along with the receipt. California law was clear. Engagement rings are conditional gifts. She'd broken the condition. Then the car. 6 months ago, Claire's Civic died, and her credit was too trashed for a loan. I'd bought a Toyota RAV4 for $17,000, title and loan in my name, to help with her client meetings. She made payments, late, sporadic, but it was my car. Dad's voice echoed, "Don't be Uncle Mike. His ex drove a car he paid for, wrecked it, left him with the debt, not me." I drove the RAV4 to a dealership, explained I was the owner, and signed papers for $15,500, pending inspection. Her parking spot sat empty, a quiet middle finger to her betrayal. I spent the weekend packing her stuff, 40 pairs of sandals, silk scarves, sketch pads filled with her designs, boxed up with care, because I'm not a savage. But I found things I wasn't meant to. A credit card statement, $10,000 in debt for designer clothes and spa days she'd never mentioned. Then a journal, tucked under her side of the bed. Pages of pros and cons. Me, stable, reliable, good provider. Ryan, wild, thrilling history. Dated 3 months ago. She'd been weighing her options while I planned our future. My chest tightened, but I kept moving. Finn followed me, sensing the shift, his blue eyes watchful as I stacked boxes by the door. I called my lawyer, a surfer named Greg who got my world. Showed him the screenshots, the journal, the receipts. California's no common law state, he said, leaning back in his office, surf wax on his desk. Your condo, your car, your assets, they're safe. Keep documenting, text only. I nodded, my anger cooling into resolve. I drove my Jeep along Highway 1, Finn in the passenger seat, the Pacific's waves crashing below. The road wound through cliffs, the air sharp with salt, and for a moment, I felt free. Finn ran on the beach later, chasing waves, carefree while I sorted my thoughts. This wasn't just about Claire. It was about me, reclaiming what I'd built. Claire's Bali trip lasted 10 days. I knew the storm was coming. Tuesday night, I was with Nate on my deck, the bay dark under a sliver of moon, the air cool and briny. Finn lounged nearby, chewing his frisbee. Then, keys scraped at the door, pounding. "Ethan! Open the damn door!" Claire's voice, sharp as a reef. Nate grinned, cracking another beer. "Here we go." I opened the door halfway. She stood there, tanned, furious, a suitcase at her feet, her blonde hair still carrying the glow of Bali. "Why doesn't my key work?" she demanded, eyes blazing. "I changed the locks," I said, calm as the tide. Her jaw dropped. "You what?" "Why?" I held up my phone, the screenshot of her and Ryan burning bright. "You wanted space. I made it permanent. Wedding's canceled." Her face crumpled, not with regret, but panic. "That's not what it looks like. Jess sent you that? It was just a trip." Nate snorted from the couch. "A romantic getaway with your ex? Real classy." I stared her down. "Bali, Claire, while I'm here planning our life." Her eyes flicked to the empty parking spot. "Where's my car?" The entitlement in her voice was unreal. "Not your car. Mine. Sold it." She stomped her foot, a grown woman throwing a tantrum. "I made payments! You can't do this!" Nate laughed outright. "Call the cops, princess. Tell them your fiancé sold his car after you cheated. That'll go over great." Then Mia, her sister, stormed in from the hallway, a 25-year-old clone of Claire. Same blonde hair, same entitled scowl. "What's going on?" she snapped. Claire, tears streaming, wailed, "He sold my car!" "Changed the locks. Canceled our wedding." Mia rounded on me. "After everything Claire did for you, you throw her out?" Nate cut in, leaning forward. "What, like screwing her ex in Bali? Check her Instagram, genius." I raised a hand, stopping the chaos. "Your stuff's in the lobby tomorrow. Noon, 1 hour, or it's goodwill." Finn barked, hackles up, sensing the tension. Claire's eyes locked on him. "You're keeping Finn too?" I almost laughed. "The dog you called a shedding nuisance?" "Yeah, he's mine." I shut the door, their voices muffled but furious. Nate clinked his beer against mine. "Bullet dodged, bro. That was epic." Finn nuzzled my leg, and I scratched his ears. "Just us now, buddy." The next morning, Claire's texts started at 6 a.m. "You can't do this. Where am I supposed to live? I need my car." I didn't reply. Nate and I hauled her boxes to the condo lobby at noon, organized like I was running a moving company. Claire arrived with Mia and their mom, Diane, a woman who oozed entitlement, bleached hair, yoga pants, a glare that could sink a ship. Diane launched into me. "This is unacceptable, Ethan. Claire made one mistake. She's under so much pressure." I gestured to the boxes. "Everything's here. 1 hour. Diane's face flushed. My daughter lived here rent-free, drove your car, and you discard her like garbage? I shrugged. Gravy trains derailed. They left with her stuff, but I knew it wasn't over. The ocean outside churned, a storm brewing, and I braced for impact. Claire's family went nuclear. Social media became their battlefield. Claire posted cryptic sob stories. Betrayed by the one you trusted most. A photo of her staring out a window captioned, "Some people shoot you, then play the victim." The irony was thicker than coastal fog. Mutual friends texted, "Selling her car was cold, man." Jess, bless her, shut them down, sharing the Bali screenshots. Then Claire crossed a line. She got Jess fired, claiming she'd created a hostile work environment by sharing the screenshots. That lit a fire in me. Jess didn't deserve that. I called her, offered job leads, connected her with surf industry contacts. "You didn't have to do this," she said, voice shaky. "Yeah, I did," I replied. "You had my back." The shop was my anchor. I dove into the fishboard, shaping its rails with surgical precision, the ocean's rhythm outside steadying my hands. The crew, Nate, Diego, and the others, stepped up, no questions asked. They saw the weight I carried, didn't pry, just handed me tools and kept the shop humming. Dad swung by with sandwiches, our Thursday ritual, the scent of pastrami mixing with resin. "You good?" he asked, sitting in my office, the bay glinting through the window. "Getting there," I said. "Work helps." He nodded. "Mike ate his feelings after his divorce. You're building. That's the way." His words were simple, but they grounded me. Then Claire and Mia escalated. They started showing up at Coastal Carve, loitering in the parking lot, Claire yelling about her stolen life. Diego and the crew formed a wall, Nate calling security. "Boss, we got you," Diego said, his voice calm but firm. I nodded, grateful. Then, one morning, I found my Jeep's hood keyed, a jagged scar across the blue paint. Security footage showed Mia, 3 a.m., screwdriver in hand, her face clear as day. The damage, $900. I filed a police report, my anger simmering but controlled. Finn stayed close, sensing my stress, his frisbee untouched as I paced the condo, the bay's waves a restless mirror. I called Dad. "They're losing it." Mia keyed my Jeep. He was calm, too calm. "They're fighting for the free ride, son. Like Mike's ex, keyed his truck, spread lies. You got cameras?" "Yeah, caught her." "Good. File for that restraining order." I did, my lawyer piling evidence, texts, footage, Jess's screenshots. But Claire wasn't done. A week later, an email from Ryan, of all people. "Ethan, I'm sorry. She told me you two were done before Bali. I didn't know you were engaged. She's been showing up at my place, crying, begging for another shot." I stared at the screen, the bay outside calm for once, sunlight glinting off the water. Ryan had been fed a lie, same as me. "Bullet dodged, brother," he wrote. I couldn't argue. Claire's lies spread like wildfire. She told friends I was controlling, abusive, had trapped her. Classic Darvo, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. But too many people knew the truth. My neighbors saw me walking Finn alone while Claire binged Netflix. My crew saw her demanding cash when her credit cards maxed out. Jess's screenshots, time-stamped and undeniable, showed her bragging to friends before Bali. Ethan thinks I'm just thinking. Meanwhile, Ryan and I are living it up in paradise. I added it all to the restraining order file, my lawyer's binder growing thick. The breaking point came at 2 a.m. a week later. My phone lit up with a security alert. Motion at the shop. I pulled up the feed. heart pounding. Claire, alone, spray painting LIAR across the shop's front window, her movements frantic, paint dripping like blood. The ocean roared in the background, a storm rolling in. I called the police, sent the footage, and drove to the shop, Finn in the Jeep, his ears perked. The cops were there when I arrived, Claire in cuffs, her face a mix of rage and tears. "You ruined my life," she screamed as they led her away. I stood there, rain starting to fall, the word liar glaring under the shop's floodlights. Diego showed up, unasked, with a bucket and sponge. "We'll clean it up, boss," he said. I nodded, throat tight. My crew, my family, they had my back. The restraining order hearing was a slaughter. Claire and Diane showed up, dressed like they were auditioning for a Lifetime movie, all soft tears and victim vibes. My lawyer laid out the evidence. Screenshots, journal, car title, security footage of Mia's vandalism, Claire's spray paint stunt. The judge's face hardened with each page. 3 years, no contact within 500 feet of me, my condo, or coastal carve. Claire's sob story crumbled under the weight of truth. I walked out, the ocean air sharp, Finn waiting in the Jeep. For the first time in weeks, I felt light, like a wave had finally broken. A month later, Diane called, voice dripping with desperation. Claire couldn't hold a job without a car. Mia faced fines for the vandalism. Could I help? I laughed, hard. "You're violating the restraining order. This goes to my lawyer." I hung up, forwarded the call details, and turned my phone off. The bay sparkled outside. A rare, clear day. Gulls diving into the surf. I sold the sapphire ring, booked a solo trip to Portugal. 2 weeks of surfing empty waves, no posts, no drama. When I got back, I repainted the condo, swapped Claire's trendy decor for reclaimed wood shelves and local art. Finn claimed the couch, sprawling without her complaints. The shop thrived. The fishboard got featured in Surfer magazine, the client raving about its speed. Referrals poured in, my crew stepping up like champs. Nate started dating Jess, a silver lining I didn't expect. We'd hang at my place, Finn stealing fries, the 4 of us laughing over board games. Then, at a surf expo in San Diego, I met Lena, a 28-year-old shaper with her own shop in Encinitas. She asked about my rail designs, her questions sharp, her vibe grounded. We traded numbers, texted about boards, then life. She met Finn, tossed his frisbee like a pro, and he loved her instantly. Last week, she joined me and Dad for Sunday barbecue. The 3 of us nerding out over Finn's setups while the ocean hummed below. Dad texted later, "Smart girl, good pick. High praise from a man who trusts no one." Claire's world unraveled. She lost her job, maxed out her cards in Bali, and burned bridges with Ryan and her parents. Mia's vandalism fines buried her deeper. Me? I learned I'm tougher than I thought. My shop, my dog, my people, they're my anchor. The ocean keeps rolling, and so do I, shaping boards, chasing waves, building a life no one can break.